let's delve into this faith issue a bit too. Because the faith is a very complicated term, and, it's often parodied by the rationalists. To have faith in God is parodied as a primitive and superstitious belief. But my psychological investigations convinced me that there's no action without faith. Because we are always stepping into the unknown, we have to take a leap of faith to exist, to do the simplest of things, literally to move. We're trying to move from a place of less value to a place of more value. So we have to make some assumptions about what constitutes value. And then we have to believe that our actions are going to have the outcome that we desire. And we do that without evidence. That's partly why to be human is to be riven with anxiety. It's because there's no certainty, and so you can't act without faith. And so then the question might, if you accept that proposition, you can't act without faith. And I don't believe that that's a disputable proposition, unless you view people as deterministic in the way that clocks are, so that we're just stimulus response machines. It seems to me that instead we're moving into the unknown, and we do that in dread, in some sense, dread and hope, and we do that because we have faith. And when we lose that faith, our lives fall apart, and we don't know which way is up or down. And so then the question is, well, if we have to have faith, what is it that we should have faith in? And then the answer seems to be something like, well, if we have to make a decision about that, maybe we try to have faith in the idea that the best should be pursued and will prevail as an organizing principle. And then the question is, well, what is the best? And the answer is, well, that's a really hard question. And so we need cathedrals, and we need Bach's music, and we need the stories in Genesis, and we need the world's great literature. And we need all of that, theater and drama and art and aesthetics, to help us understand what the best is and to determine how it should prevail. And I don't see that technically as any different from, I think it is the same thing psychologically as the worship of Christ. I think it's the same thing. Because, again, I'm trying to speak psychologically to think about what Christ represents. I'm not thinking about him as a historical figure. That's something we can get to later. That image, which is seen, for example, laid out on these massive cathedral domes, Christ as logos, as generator of the world, it's the idea that the proper mode of being is brought into existence by consciousness that's operating according to the highest possible principles. And why wouldn't... And that is the kind of faith that's maybe got some courage associated with it, right? I'm going to act as if this is the case. We're all going to act as if this is the case. And then the more you treat other people as if they're valuable, the better person you are. That just comes along for the ride in some sense. So none of that seems questionable to me. That seems solid. And so then maybe the more love you view other people with, the higher the moral demand that's placed on you. And then I would say too, well then, that's another reason why it's so important to be truthful and in some sense to be good, because it isn't obvious to me that you can withstand that moral load if you're compromised by too much sin. It's too much. And that's another thing that we're not very good at teaching young people about. You shouldn't do that. It's like there's a sanctimonious authority that goes along with that that's the wrong tone. It's more like, I don't know how you lay it out properly, but you tell people that you love how to avoid the road to hell. And you don't do that because you're shaking your finger at them or because you're a moral authority. You do it because you don't want them to burn. And I think there's too much of the moral authority still in the church and not enough of the, the love that helps people avoid the fire.